Hey, okay. You just don't want to turn the camera around right now. I thank you guys so much for every piece of support that you guys give to us. Every prayer, every screenshot, every share, and then hearing where everybody's from and how far my story has been able to resonate with some people around the world is really, really cool. It's more than cool. Sometimes I told you guys I'm geographically challenged, so it's crazy to realize how far it reaches, but it's crazy, period, to know that someone is listening to me from around the world. Never in a million years did I think that would happen. No one has ever wanted to hear what I have had to say or care about what has happened to me. We are not a celebrity. We are no one special. We are everyday people. I don't need anyone to consider me something that I am not, because you wouldn't believe my self-esteem sometimes, majority of the time. I love you guys like your family. I don't have one fan at all because I'm not a celebrity. My story is not a TV show. It's not entertainment. It's not what some people think it is, because some people just have TV mentality with things that they see through the screen of their phone. It irritates me that people would even look at me in that light, because I wouldn't even want to be compared. Some of you know how much it is to be able to explain us to your family, and people have had either issues with their families or arguments or with their friends or if people have messaged me, I don't know how many times, like, listen, me and this person are not talking. I've lost friends on this side because I'm trying to explain your story and people just don't want to get it. That's just you explaining it. I can't even explain my story fully without someone chasing us from state to state. There's a video that went out recently. I'm not comparing myself. I am not Isaac Cappy. We're not even close, but it's funny, the similarities. That he was in Apple Valley before he died. He was asking for spotters. And the majority that came to him were massage therapists. There's so many similarities with a lot of the truth tellers that even to ask them for advice at this point, even to ask what the hell do I do, even to ask like, hey, what would you do in a similarity? There's no way, because they're all in hiding. Or they're all trying to figure their shit out themselves just to stay alive, to be able to tell you what is right. And actually what the fuck is wrong. And somebody just said people don't believe that these tennis shoes are designed to hell Satan. Where is the blood coming from? Did anybody ask, even if it's just a drop of blood, where is 666 drops of blood coming from to make these shoes? Because I'm pretty sure as a celebrity, as bitchy and cocky, rude and selfish as they are, I don't think they would be the first ones volunteering themselves to give up all that blood. So where the hell did all that blood come from? That's the argument. That's the trend. That's what we're talking about right now. There's nothing that hides themselves anymore, but people are still not hearing what is going on. People, I have gotten crucified. I have gotten accounts made up. I've gotten death threats. I've gotten death wishes and all kind of things because I didn't answer a question, or someone just doesn't get it, or someone is trying to get it but they can't because I didn't answer them. And I don't feel like if you ask me a question, I'm going to be able to help you completely, lead you to the right answer, because I'm not anyone special. However, there is a lot of information that people just don't know. We haven't even told you 5% of our story yet. How many people have you seen absolutely obsessed with our story to the point where they hate us to a point? Never mind the fact that they're trolls. What you should be paying attention to is if something is resonating with somebody, why would you try to shut it down? Why would you try to silence it? Why do everything in your power from state to state to make sure that it doesn't exist and it won't get out? Because I'm sorry, there was not at one point for me that I just walked the hell away. What I mean by that, satanic weddings, we're going to talk about in just a second. But as far as the containers, someone needs to make sure that when it comes out, just know that they're locked in a way that they have secret passageways. They're locked in a way that they're kind of wedged in where they are, and there's also a way to get out of them. I wouldn't be surprised at how many lives you will see, how many lives you won't get to see because of the secret passageways on that ship. There are no coincidences, to what's going on. It's biblical, and that's where the red flags for me come in. And like I told you guys already, again, for the gajillionth time, we have all walks of life on our page. So let's talk about how biblical it is, and then think about what religion is everybody trying to go after to silence. It's not Catholic. It's not Seventh-day Adventist. It's not every other religion. It's Christianity. And now we have Evergreen that's stuck in the Red Sea, where Moses parted the Red Sea, and now it's biblical. There's a lot of questions that everybody has with the trending topic right now, that it's possible that there are people in those containers. You know what the trending topic is and what they're putting it out there to be is way worse than what it is. So are people still not angry enough? Because you would think that if it was you, there's 160 people on here. So imagine having a child that came from you, that is your twin, that is your everything, your whole entire world. Your day couldn't go by without this kid. And the last thing that you knew is they're on this ship, in this container, without any food, without any water, being tortured, being raped, in a very intricate container. These containers are not just empty metal containers. Understand how many dentist chairs you will find. It's not just for show. So if this was your child and you were sitting up at night and you were waiting to see if you were going to get the call that your child was on this ship, would you be just like, I wanted to talk about it on Instagram? Or would you be pissed off and headed towards that ship to make sure that if your baby was there, you were going to catch him. Those containers are so intricate now that you can make houses out of those containers. You can make homes, very intricate, detailed homes, soundproof homes out of those containers. What would you do if that was your child? What would you do if that was somebody that you loved, that you knew was in those containers right now? Would just sitting here on this couch listening to this Instagram be enough for you? If you knew they were gone for months? If you knew that they had no food? If you knew that they were being tortured and raped and beaten, and that's not even the half of it? If you knew that it was a possibility that your loved one, if they screamed too loud or they fought too hard, that they could be chopped up, thrown overboard, and eaten by the nearest fish? I just think sometimes sitting by this video is not enough. And a lot of people are like, okay, well, your story seems too good to be true. Your story seems too wild. And then they see another video and then they're like, all right, that made more sense. Okay, well, that seems too wild. And here's another video. Well, damn, that she can't be a fraud if that happened. Well, that seriously still doesn't make sense. Well, she couldn't have hired the cops in every single state. Why isn't anybody angry yet? I don't get it. We're still arguing over who said what, and what shoe is this person selling, and now we're seeing there's no more the devil is in the details. No, the devil is right in front of your face. The devil is selling your shoes. The devil runs your mainstream media. Everything is a distraction. Exactly. Why is it the trending topic that Hillary Clinton has a mass trafficking ring and a bunch of evergreen containers, and everybody is just still sitting from their fucking couches like, oh, wow, now that could be scary. You know, everybody listened very clearly when they said put a mask on your face, put 2 masks on your face, put 3 masks on your face, take out all the fucking toilet paper, buy all the rice, make sure all the chicken is gone, line up at the store for hours, go shop in the dark, make sure you shop like you go into a blizzard, but nobody making those type of moves for the children. We just gone. Things are happening right in front of everybody's faces. Nike is selling the blood of someone else, and everybody is just like, I mean, it's not that bad. He's grinding on Satan. It's not that bad. Yeah, those kids don't just feel alone, they feel helpless. They feel invisible. I don't know how many times I tried to kill myself in my life. It was ridiculous. That whole cat has 9 lives thing is like, oof. I was engaged when I was 15. Engaged to a lot, actually more times than I could count. Proposed to more times than I could count. I don't think I've ever been proposed to over the age of 19. Actually, take that back. 18. There are many satanic ritual weddings that take place in Nevada, Utah. They're not exactly what you think either. It's not just like a pentagram on the ground and everybody has a sword and candles and fire and everybody's in robes. It's not exactly that. Yes and no, but it doesn't always go down like that. They're in your everyday churches. They're in your churches that you go to. What is it? It's tomorrow, Sunday? So some people wonder why they go into their church homes. The next thing you know, they're like, my church home is great. And then they go to church and then they have all kind of paranormal activity flying through their homes. Their spouses are acting crazy. Their children are acting up. They got sleep paralysis and they have no idea why. There's things in your church that happen during the week, at night. Not just the churches, but the cemeteries. It's not the dead people you want to be afraid of. Selling your soul doesn't involve just money. Selling your soul doesn't just involve making a deal with the devil. Selling your soul literally means sometimes laying down and letting someone possess your soul or take over your soul. Literally. My story is not a game. It's not a joke. It's not a TV show. Sex work is not work. So there's not one person that will tell you that this life is beautiful. If they do, they've never really been into sex work. There's no such thing as sex work being work. But if you've been on this side of that life, there is not a damn thing beautiful about it. It is worse than any dog-eat-dog competitive world that you can ever imagine. It's a property auction. Your entire life. There's nothing about it that is pretty, is spun or sugar-coated. There are many different types of trafficking. There are many different ways of trafficking. It doesn't just exist brutally in the tunnels. It doesn't just exist in chains and bondage. It's not. It is in your homes. It's every day. It's. I don't know how to explain it to people. How many. You don't just walk away. I've been involved with cults, and now I started speaking out, and there's no just walking away. Someone said before, oh, her first Instagram that I seen is dance videos. Yeah, that's how you seen me before. When I was hiding in plain sight. Now that I started speaking out, from the second that I started talking, I have not gotten 1 inch of peace. Neither has my mother or my grandmother, and my animals. There is nothing that anyone could tell me about, oh, it's, just walk. No, that doesn't exist. Because if it was that easy, I'd be able to tell my story from the comfort of my home. Everybody's like, oh, well, how come she just can't tell us more? Every time I open my mouth to tell you guys something, we get slammed with shit. We have moved state to state to state, have multiple witnesses at this point from the craziness, and there's still nothing that could be done about it, because this is not the type of issue that you could just cut the cord and, oh, it's all over, and there's a military man that comes in and just saves the day, and then the president just comes in and you shake his hand and everything is all right and we can skip to the flowers and everything be happily ever after like a fucking Disney movie. That doesn't exist. What people need to understand is what's reality. What's reality is if you get out, you're damn lucky, but you're never really out. If you start to expose this life, you end up like truth tellers who are trying to tell you something, like maybe Isaac Cappy, who called for spotters right before his death, or his mysterious disappearance is more so what you should be calling it. Timothy Charles Homestead. Multiple times Liz Crokin has went into hiding. I keep bringing up people that I know of, but there are other people who I'm sure you know of that you barely heard a bit of their story because they became like somebody who you heard a little bit, and then all of a sudden they disappeared once they started talking about government issues. Why? We can get names all day. Dandy. We can sit here and gasp and oh my God at the names all day long. But what are you gonna do with them when you get them? Because you guys, there's a lot of people who have information that there's possibly trafficked children on the ship Evergreen. Everybody is just still chilling. Like, I'll wait till they open them up. How come nobody is pissed enough to say, fuck that shit? How do I get there to open them up myself? That could be my child. That's someone's child. That's a child. It's everywhere though. It's not just the containers, but here it is in your faces, and we're still just like, fuck, that sounds bad. What are you gonna do when we slap names down? What are you gonna do when all survivors come out with names? What are you gonna do? Nobody's upset. Everybody's still waiting on the orange man to fix it. You know, if the orange man didn't move the hell out of the way, we'd still be talking about how orange he is. But I see now why he had to get up and move out of the way, because if Trump didn't move out the way when he did, we'd still be talking about all the things that he did wrong and all of his tan. But now we're talking about something else, and still it's not enough. Why isn't everybody upset yet? Why is it going to take for me? Why is it going to take for everybody's like, oh my God, I love you too, you have no idea. Please don't take this the wrong way. But why would it have to take for all of my insurance videos to drop and us to go mysteriously missing, or you to have our bloody bodies for everybody to be really pissed off? Why does it always have to take for somebody to have blood on their hands for somebody to have had enough? I don't get that. It's a trending topic that there's possible children in these containers, and everybody is sitting back like, well, it's never enough for some people, so we like to cushion some people with their falls, or soften the blows for family members, or soften the blows for friends because, hey, maybe they're not ready to wake up. Why the fuck should you be catering to grown-ass adults or people who choose to keep their head in the sands while there's children that are still suffering? Why the fuck should we be babying them? So the fuck what? You want to go away? So what? You think I'm crazy? So what? You think I done lost my damn mind? Well, I have lost my mind because there are children who needed me. There are children who need you, but yeah, you still want to stick your head in the sand. So why the fuck should we be giving them a pillow when nobody even gives a damn about the child that's in the container right now? Everybody's so worried about, oh, that person in the store with the mask, and you don't care about my life because you didn't put on a mask. Well, you don't give a damn about the children that's trending right now that's possibly in those containers. So why the fuck should anybody give a care about the mask? You see how we worried about this shit that's not that serious in life? There should be people who are so upset that it shouldn't just be about a march. It should be people nonstop in the streets. This is not going to stop until everybody decides it does. People want to go back to normal. And okay. Well, I hate that. Like, that I hear that so much. I hear what you're saying, because you want to go back normal, sarcastically. But my thing is people want to go back to normal. It's nice and dandy. There are some children who are being tied to beds right now and hanging on for dear fucking life while somebody rapes them. Can we draw this picture in our head? Can you draw the picture of a child at 14 years old, me, 14 years old, being handcuffed and tied to a fucking bed for hours while people take their turn, an auction to take their turn? Can we go back a little bit to how far I remember when somebody used to do things to me like that and lock me in a room and make sure that it was quiet enough or soundproof enough for nobody to hear? I would have loved to be able to just be that child to play tetherball and draw in a fucking coloring book and play with dolls for a minute, but I wasn't even allowed to play with coloring books and dolls because everybody knew that what was going on was not normal. So while I would definitely love to know what I look like as a child, probably have had the choice to have kids, to have an idea of what I look like as a child, or even have some type of memory of a good childhood, I don't. So there is no going back to normal for people like me. What pisses me off, though, is what we no one even imagined this pandemic. No one even pictured we'd be wearing masks. And here we are fighting over toilet paper, but nobody shows that same love over children. The trending topic right now is evergreen containers in the Red Sea, stuck with over 20,000 containers from to the eye of what they can see. And everybody is worried about the second wave after a year of wearing fabric masks made by Sally, your nearest neighbor with a cricket. Are you fucking kidding me? Doesn't matter, yeah, until it's your children. But what's scary is it doesn't matter until it's somebody you idolize. And then, oh my gosh, I'm angry. Look how many people showed up for Kobe Bryant and Gianna's death. You should be fucking ashamed if you drove all the way out to Los Angeles to line up for a basketball player. Where is that same love for everybody driving at least halfway close to or even a quarter away from a child to preach, to raise awareness, to scream, to be their voice? Where is that at? Do you know how many children die every second, every few seconds, every few minutes in the hands of a trafficker? Do you know how much money is made at the border? Do you know how much money was made at the border just this year? Over $14 million. So, do you know how many children died to get that $14 million? Do you know how many children were raped to death to get that $14 million? Do you know how many children were put into a snuff film with machines bigger than a crane to get that $14 million just at the border alone? Do you know how many children's bones were broken? Do you know how many children will never walk again? Do you know how many babies cried out for their mom like George Floyd did, and everybody gathered around, made marches around the world, made madness around the world for George fucking Floyd, a grown-ass man that was a convict and a trafficker that had a porn site up, and he had a girl that he brought and ordered that looked just like his daughter. Everybody randomly came together to support a grown-ass man with fentanyl hanging out of his mouth, like for crying out for his mama. But do you know how many times I cried out for my mom, who never gave a damn about me, didn't want me, but nobody could have me and everybody else could rape me? But we want to talk about Black Lives Matter and we want to talk about George Floyd. I cried out for my mom. I cried out for my social worker. I cried out for anybody who gave a damn, but nobody came. So Do you know how many children are crying out for help right now as we speak that's in those containers? Do you know how many children are crying out for help right now that's under your feet? Do you know how many children are crying for help right now that's somewhere in your apartment complex, down the street from you, in your neighborhood, in your nearest gas station, in the nearest facade that you have that's a psychic shop, a cemetery, your high schools? You have children in your own family that's crying out for your help, but you still don't see them because you don't believe that that could be happening in your own home because your home's just perfect for that. Do you know how many children cry out for help every night in the foster care system that nobody has seen because of COVID? Do you know how many children are underneath the hospitals, in the hospitals, on the basement floor of the hospital? Do you know how many people traffic through the hospitals that are crying out for their mothers and for help right now? But everybody's sitting on their couch. Do you know how many times a child has had to suffer through adult situations, but you have decided to cushion and another adult on what the hell what the hell they have to go through? They don't even have a choice to be brave about. You've decided to cushion these adults, other adults, and oh, I don't want to tell you about it because I don't want to rock your soul. Fuck your soul. Do you know how many souls have been stolen in the last 10 seconds, in the last 30 seconds, in this whole fucking live that we've been talking right now? What about their soul? There's parts of me I will never get back. I will never forgive myself for, and I hate myself for. I can't even look in the mirror some days or get in my own fucking bath and touch myself to bathe myself sometimes because of the shit that I've been through. But we definitely gonna talk about we're gonna sit from the couch and the mask and little Nas, because that's important, because he's just putting it out there for you to see, but that's still not enough. When is it enough? When there's another bloody body taken out? Nobody knows the smell of underground. Let me tell you, have you ever smelled milk? Okay, imagine milk and spinach in a refrigerator for over a few months. Just that smell alone, right? Okay, now imagine that milk and spinach with seafood. Can you just, and then let that sit in the sun and cook with eggs? And I still don't even think that will equal to the amount of what it smells like underground that people get a kick out of. What it smells like when people are collecting children's bodies, other people's bodies, for their wicked pleasure. We there is a child that you know right now that needs you as we speak, but you're still, it's better to be comfortable. You feel better if you're comfortable. You feel better if you don't have to cause mass panic. You feel better if there's not hysterics. Do you know how many times I've lost my voice from screaming at somebody? Gave up fighting for screaming at somebody. Oh, she's a fraud. She's a scam. Call CPS and pull up some fucking reports. They got some explaining to do. So does my probation officer when I was 12 years old. She got some explaining to do too. So does the judge on my case that hid some of my records. They got some explaining to do too. CPS owes me some money. For a year straight, they collected money from me. They got some explaining to do too, because if they were CPS, and if they were as big and bad as they say, and if they were protectors of the children, then someone should have been arrested. Right? I should have been protected. With every part of their being, I should have been protected. But no, for a year straight, they didn't look for me. Didn't give a damn. But decided to collect a check for me because, I was a troubled child. So, cha-ching. Does anybody know what's going on in CPS? Does anybody know that CPS sells children? CPS, they make sure that they place children sometimes with the foster parents that are okay with being paid off by pimps. I was placed into schools where I was checked into school, and no one called to say, oh, she was absent from fourth period, or she was absent from this period, or she didn't show up on time to this. No. Once I was checked into school, I was checked in by my pimps and checked out by my pimps, and my pimps were my guidance counselors, my SRO, my English teacher, my math teachers. So where's my justice? No justice, no peace, huh? BLM? Everybody's like, who is it? Who was it? Who all is chasing you? If anybody could get a hold of the absolute imaginary Santa Claus Tooth Fairy list that is longer than it is like the North Pole's fucking records and file cabinet, if you can get a hold of my CPS records, and you can decipher through, and you can tell me through Child Protective Services, through every police report, through every CPS report since I was a newborn baby, who the hell and why the hell and what the hell was going on, I'd be able to answer that question. But as of right now, I still don't know. I get to find out every day. We talked about this in the chat, but your mental wards, your residential places where your children have to stay overnight, you better watch out for them. Chino Hills, California mental ward had a lot of issues. It's a mental ward. Yeah, I know. The children's side, though, you'd be shocked. From fighting the staff, I was locked in solitary confinement for a little bit. Threw in a hole for a while. Watched some things happen in that hospital. All places have connections. But we can continue, like I said, to give names all day long. What are you going to do about it? Because everybody has the information that they need. It's right in front of them, but nobody is making the moves that they need to make. Everybody is still waiting on who's going to do it. Is Trump going to come in on this date? Is Q going to come in on this date? Is this going to come in on this date? When are we all going to get the date? Why do we need to plan it? Why does everybody need a date?